Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Sonia from Profiling Manipulation. So obviously a lot in the news this week regarding the Idaho 4. The killer is still on the loose. There's nobody been found, and as far as I know there's no suspects. So I keep trying to I can't do it anyway, obviously, right? Because I don't have that mindset. But I try and put my mind into being the mind of a killer, right? The type of person that would be. So walk through the steps of doing what they did to try and understand or figure out what the fuck was this about, what was going on, right? So I imagine myself, okay, it's dark, it's late, it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, there's nobody around. I'm approaching the house. So if I've got a knife, where's the knife? It looks like a pretty big knife. It's like what they call it, a combat kind of knife with a hilt. So it's a big knife. So where am I putting the knife? Well, it's too big. It won't fit in my hoodie jacket. Have I got another coat on? A big like trench coat type? Is it in my jeans pocket at the back? It would stick out. Would I care? How did I get to the scene? How did I arrive there? Did I walk? Did I get dropped off? Did I sneak round the back? How did I arrive? So it's 3, 4 o'clock in the middle of the night. Okay, I'm at a house. I have a knife. Where's the knife? Well, let's just say it's in, say I have a big coat on. I would have a big coat on, right? It's cold anyway. Big coat, deep pockets. So the big knife is in my pocket, okay? So I'm at the door. All the lights are off. Everybody's asleep. There's no sounds. There's no movement. So which way am I going in? Do I just walk in through the front door? Okay? Because you walk up to the front of that house and it's quite open. You would be spotted approaching it. Because it's set back and there's like, it's got like a huge front. So do I walk towards the front door, or am I sneaking around the back and I use the sliding door? How do I get in? I must have known how I was going to get in before I got there, because that'd be too much to leave to chance. If I'm going there with this big knife and I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to have to know I'm going to get into the property. So how am I getting in? Most people are assuming he used the sliding doors around the back, which would make more sense. It's discreet. Therefore, was it left open? Had someone left it open? Well, that's too much to leave to chance. If I'm going there to kill someone, I need to know before I arrive that I'm going to be able to get inside the house. So I must have the code. That's the only thing I can think of. I must have the code. Well, how have I got the code? Have I been there before? Have I been around the property before? Have I been in? I must have been. For me, I must have been. As I'm walking through this crime, I must have been in this house before, right? So I punch the code in. I gently slide the door open. Again, we're imagining it. It's pitch black. There's no lights on. There's no sounds. Everybody's asleep. I am in the house with this knife. Where am I going first? I'm on the 2nd floor, right? Well, Ethan and Zaina are on this floor. So am I going into that room first and killing them? Or am I going up another flight of stairs to get the other two first? Where am I going? So I've walked in. It's deathly quiet. I've got a knife. Who's my target? Who am I going to take out first? Who and why? What's the reason? Well, I must be enraged. I must be fucking angry. I must be fuming if I'm prepared to do this. If I'm going to end the lives of all these people, there must be something fucking making me sickly psychopathic that I want to go and hurt somebody and end them. And not just one, several. So what's on my mind? What am I thinking? Okay, well, a healthy, normal person in the middle of a stranger's house, or somebody that they barely know, in the middle of the night, would be anxious. This person isn't anxious. This person's motivated. They're motivated. The adrenaline They're channeling the adrenaline and they're focused. They're in the house, they've got this far. Now where? We'll say they go up to, do they go up to the 3rd floor? Where do I go? Do I take a right and go into Ethan and Zaina's room? Where the fuck do I go with this knife, and who am I killing first? What the hell? So I'm angry, there's adrenaline pumping, I'm fucking mad, I'm fuming. Right, so I think I'm going to go up the stairs first, and I'm going to hurt those two. So I go up the stairs, quietly creeping. I mean, imagine, I don't think it's about confidence, it's about arrogance and narcissism and entitlement. So the normal healthy feelings, a healthy person, you've got to swap them over, because this kind of a person typically would be like a cluster B personality. Well, they're entitled, they're arrogant, they think they have an overextended right to whatever it is they believe they have a right to. Could be anything. So I go up the stairs, controlled, calculatingly, quiet. I open the bedroom door. There's 2 girls asleep in a room, and I march over and I begin hurting them. Okay, hurting. That's going to have to take a lot, because even if they woke up in the middle of it, there's going to be arms everywhere. You've got 4 arms literally trying to push you away in some way, I would assume. Trying to, I don't know, defend themselves, possibly. So you're in that room, you've done what you've done. Okay, there's blood all over the bed. What am I wearing? Am I in all black so the blood doesn't show? Am I covered in the blood? Well, realistically, and if you've watched, I'm not talking about the true crime that they have on YouTube, but if you've watched and read accounts by genuine profilers or FBI experts and people like that, when they talk about these kinds of people, they're good at getting into the mindset and understanding their thinking process. And the problem with what we know, and the problem with all our amateur profiling and trying to figure this guy or persons out, is because we don't have what profilers need to be able to build a profile, because you need what's in the crime scene and what isn't in the crime scene. And obviously we don't have that, okay, because all those types of things will tell you A, B and C about a killer, okay, and oftentimes if there's nothing left there or there's nothing to pick up, in a lot of cases profilers need more deaths to be able to build a stronger profile and pinpoint more what type of person or which type of person this would be that's done this, like how to recognize them. So I've got into the bedroom, we're still in the mind of the killer. Now I must be pumped the fuck up, right? I've just hurt 2 people. There's blood everywhere. That must have been a rush. It must have been a rush for a toxic person to do something like that, with their mindset, not mine. So you're hyped the fuck up. You're looking at the bed. There's no movement. Okay, there'll be blood on the ceiling. There has to be, because it would shoot. Blood would shoot up, and as the person's lifting the knife up to repeat another hit, there's going to be spray from that knife. So he would have got blood on him, possibly in his face if he's hoofed his arm up over his head and then swung down. There's possible there'd be droplets on his face. So how did he protect himself? Well, did he protect himself? Did he care? I wouldn't necessarily believe, until the blood started working its way through the mattress or dripping down the sides of the bed, that it wouldn't necessarily mean that there would be blood all over the floor that he would be walking in. Lots of times when we've seen pictures of crime scenes, true crime scenes, there's just a mass of blood in the middle of a bed kind of thing, and then up a wall where the spray, maybe the arterial vein or something. So maybe he didn't have that much blood on him, but his hands would have been messy for sure. Did he wear gloves then, right? So he stood in the room. He's just hurt these 2 people. He's excited, he's wound up still. right? He's done what he came to do, but he's still not fucking finished. He's still fucking angry. Still fucking angry. Still hyped up. The adrenaline is still pumping. He hasn't finished or doesn't feel this has been enough. So what do? I have made a mess in the bedroom. I've done all that. I've got the knife in my hand. There's obviously going to be blood dripping. Does he wipe the blood on the bed sheets? Does he wipe it across his pants? How does he clean the knife? How does he clean his hands? Does he clean his hands? Does he use the sink? Does he use a bathroom? I mean, this is still the dead of the night. Everyone's still asleep, as far as we know. Nobody else in the house has been disturbed. There's another 4 people in here yet, right? So I've done this in the bedroom and now I need to get out of here. Okay, but I'm still hyped up, wound up. I've still got the knife in my hand. I'm going to have to go down the stairs, okay? Or do I use her balcony to escape? No, I don't use her balcony to escape. I go back down the stairs because I'm arrogant and cocky and entitled. I don't have to go out of a fucking balcony, all right? I'm going to go out the fucking door the same way I came in, okay? So I come back down the stairs. Do I hear something? Is that what happened? Did I hear Ethan or Zena in bed stirring? Maybe one of them gets up or they want the toilet or the bathroom of some kind. Anyway, I'm coming down the stairs. I'm still enraged and I've got the knife in my hand. It's the middle of the night. There's no sounds except for possibly Ethan. So I come down the stairs. I hear a noise to the left. Okay. Right, there's a noise to the left. So I head towards that bedroom. I open the door. Okay. He's back in bed. He turns around. He sees me at the door. I don't have another choice. I go in, hurt him. She wakes up, so I begin hurting her too. Okay, stab, stab, stab. Again, with my hand, if it's going above my head, to inflict full damage. I must be using my other hand to hold some of their hands away. Some of their hands must have been up, like one of Ethan's maybe, or both of Zaina's, like up to protect themselves possibly, or to push me away, to try and push me away. They can't push me away because they're being hurt and they're trying to hold their wounds and hold me back, and they don't know which one to protect first or which one to do first. And I'm still stabbing, stabbing and stabbing. Okay, so now I've done that, all right, and now there's another mess absolutely everywhere. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? Now I've got this gory scene in the bedroom. What do I do? Do I leave it? Do I pose them? Do I just sneak out quickly because this wasn't supposed to happen? I only came to do the 2 on the top floor. What is my thinking? What am I doing? Again with the knife dripping with blood. Does he wipe the knife on the bed sheets? That would be a risk of leaving fingerprints, okay? Because if you've got the blood on your hands and you're touching stuff, touching bed sheets, it's possible you can leave a fingerprint of some kind. You don't want to be doing that. What does he do? How does he clean his hands? Did he have gloves on? It feels like he would have had gloves on, okay? But how? So he does that in the bedroom. He's made this mess. Now what? Now what? I need to get out of the house quietly. Quietly. I am not in any way bothered by the messy scene. I feel satisfied. And now I'm going to go. Okay? Only now I am going to go. Now I'm satisfied. Walks out of Ethan's room. Goes to the sliding doors. And opens the door, lets himself out and shuts it as though nobody was there. So what about the blood dripping? Would there have been any blood dripping from him as he's walked through the rest of the house? Possibly. Did he leave anything behind? Like a glove? What did he do? Did he take the gloves off and shove them in his pocket? Where did he put the knife? Did he put the knife in his big jacket pocket, the same pocket I arrived with it in? And then I walk away and disappear into the night. That's as far as I can get trying to figure this mental evil story out. I try to walk through it to understand, like, or figure it out. I don't even know why. It's on everybody's mind. Okay, you come to the internet and you don't feel as weird because everybody else is thinking the same kind of things. Like, how did this person do this, and why, and who was the motive? What was the motive? What was I thinking? Why did I do it? I was so brazen and cocky to just walk through a door, stand in the middle of the house downstairs. I mean, that must just have been empowering to a certain kind of psychopath, wouldn't it? Imagine it. I'm in this house and I'm about to unleash hell, okay? And everybody's going to know I was here by the time I've left. Slinks up the stairs, gets the girls, slinks down, hurts the other two. This is sheer speculation. This is just me trying to wrap my brain around why or who he hurt first. Now, some would say maybe he took out Ethan and them lot first because he knew on his way out he would possibly have to pass that room and he didn't want to have to face them after he'd just done what he'd done upstairs. So take them out first and then go upstairs. Did he linger around? Did he stare at the scene? Did he take photographs? Did he record it? Because this guy's fucking sick, okay? He probably recorded it. He probably had some device on him recording this, possibly. He really could have, to relive it and enjoy it and possibly taunt people with it later on, who knows? I won't be surprised if they find him and he has made a video of it, okay? Or he's talking into the camera, telling the camera what he's about to do and why. I won't be surprised. So you're in this house in the middle of the night. That's somebody that feels emboldened, okay? They feel entitled. They feel masterful. I mean, you've got in somebody's house in the middle of the night. I mean, that just freaks me the fuck out to know that someone could be in your house and you don't even know. You didn't hear him come in, nothing. And you're just asleep. And he's there in the house, creeping around. Goes up the stairs. And he's not fazed. He's not, like, which a normal person would be terrified someone's going to wake up any second. Not this guy. This guy doesn't give a fuck, okay? While he's quiet and he's come here with purpose, he doesn't care if people wake up, I don't think. He doesn't care if somebody wakes up. Right? He's come to do a job. He's come to get it as well. He's figured out when people are the most vulnerable. So that's very calculating, because people are at the most vulnerable asleep. However, people at their most vulnerable when they're asleep are the hardest to get to, because usually they're behind a locked door inside a house. Okay? Because you think about vulnerable people or people that live lifestyles that are high risk to these kinds of things possibly happening more because of their lifestyles. And like they're like easy pickings in a way, like getting somebody off the street or hurting somebody or picking somebody up that's living on the streets and hurting those kinds of vulnerabilities, using those kinds of vulnerabilities against the victim. But this kind of vulnerability that's being used against these victims, they're asleep behind a locked door and they would assume themselves safe, and he's there to show them, no, you're not safe, okay? I'm the monster of your nightmares. I am here in this house while you're sleeping and you don't know. That is just creepy. So yeah, this guy or this person was emboldened. And I think they did plot and plan because they wanted the people asleep. They wanted them asleep at the most vulnerable. They didn't try another way, get one of them on their own, follow them. They could have tried other ways to possibly hurt them. But no, they chose, I am going to come right to you, and you are going to know it's me, and I am going to come through all your safety measures you think are in place to protect you. I am going to show you that there's nothing there to protect you. If I want to come and get you, I can, and I will, and I did. Okay, so this guy's cocky, really cocky. And he didn't care. Like, did he have another weapon on him? Like, what, how, where was he putting the knife when he'd finished hurting them and it was full of blood? How was he wiping it off? Where was he wiping it off? Like, did he wipe it off on a towel? I just don't know. Because obviously the police haven't said if he used some material or something inside the property to clean the knife off, or did he just chuck it in his pocket with blood on? Like, what was he dressed in? I would imagine a huge overcoat, okay, with a hood. Black clothes. I'm guessing he probably would have gloves on. He's there in the middle of the night and he's there to perform a task. It's like a military, do you know, like when you hear about black ops and they swoop in and pull somebody out of somewhere? God, it's like that. Maybe this guy does have, well, obviously he has an ego, but maybe this guy has, because I think this guy's delusional, all right? This guy is delusional. So what's his delusion though? Because a lot of like these cluster B type personalities, their delusion is attached to something. So like some of them will perceive themselves to be saviors or heroes, or I'm over here, like, you know, I care about missing kids. Like they have something that they hide behind, usually a delusion that they're attached onto, that they'll protect at any cost. So what's this guy's delusion that brings him to a house in the middle of the night, stood in the middle? Like, I imagine him just stood in the middle of the lounge taking it all in as he got in there, the silence of the atmosphere, and he was listening. No, people, hearing people breathe through the walls, just listening. And stealthily and quietly, he climbs up to the top stairs and goes in the room undetected and begins a terror attack that no one could fight off. So who is this guy? What is his delusion? Does he believe himself to be, like, he must believe himself to be some kind of fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? He believes himself to be some force, a force to be reckoned with, and clearly he is. He's dangerous, very dangerous. So why does he leave the two girls asleep? Is it because they didn't bother him? They went on his radar. Did Ethan interrupt him? Is that the only reason Ethan became on his radar? But the moment Ethan interrupted him, he intercepted Ethan, if this is the case. He intercepted Ethan stealthily again and quietly, got him back into the bedroom, right, and hurt Zaina, even though she apparently has defensive wounds, or had defensive wounds. So she must have woke up, and often when you're sleeping next to your lover, if they stir and wake up, because you're that intertwined and connected at that point when you're in love like that, you wake up at the side of them when they move. You feel them move in your sleep and it wakes you up. So is that what happened? He stirred and it woke her up, and the next thing they know, they're having a menace on top of them, attacking them. So then what do I do when I leave the house? Do I feel emboldened when I leave the house, or do I run out? I think this guy did what he did. He's hyped up, adrenaline pumping. He's just used a whole lot of energy. Because stabbing all them people, say like if he stabbed them 20 times, right? To make sure they're dead, kind of thing. I don't know how this goes. I've never freaking done it, obviously. But say he hurt them 20 times. You swing your arm up and down 20 times. And you have to keep pulling it out if you hit. And this is going to be graphic, so I do apologise. But say like if you hit bone, I don't know, kinds of things. And you've got to really, like I've watched, you know, when I've watched FBI agents or proper profilers, real profilers talk about things and cases, or coroners, and they're talking about wounds and injuries and how things happen and what happens when a knife penetrates the skin and hits bone and things like that. Sometimes the tip's known for snapping off. So he's pulling this knife back out after he's plunging it in and out. And he's done that to 4 people. So I'm expecting this guy to be well built and fit. Okay? Well built, fit, emboldened, arrogant, entitled, enraged. And then does he just walk off into the night? Runs off. Excited, hyped up. And what does he do? How does he get home? Where does he live? How far away did he travel to get to this house? Was he in a car? Did he walk? Does he live close by? See, I would think this guy is from close by. He's local. He's local. But what the fuck would enrage someone that much that you would have to kill them? And not only just kill them, it's not like, you know, these guys piss me off, I'm going to key cut the car, right? I'm going to slash the tyres because they did something to me, right? That's like a narcissistic personality. That's something that those kinds of personalities would do. This guy didn't do that, okay? This guy got a knife and decided he was going to kill them. So what did they do in his mind that he thinks this is a suitable response for whatever it was that was the slight? What the fuck was the slight? Well, it must have been something big to this guy, huge, okay? It must have been something huge, absolutely huge. Well, what can you do to a cluster B personality that's huge, that fucks with them, that really fucking fucks them off? Well, you can reveal who they really are to people, okay? If you do that to one of those personalities, then just expect, okay? So, was this a person around them that they revealed as being shady, toxic? Well, it must have been bad to say, but has there been some event recently where they unmasked somebody unknowingly? Like, they were lying about something and these people told the truth about them and it exposed them. It exposed this person that didn't want to be exposed. Maybe it was something like that. Okay, so you've exposed me, you've revealed things about me that this guy really had a problem being revealed. And so in his mind, killing them was the only punishment to as retribution for this crime against him. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think like they are and incorporate what I know about those personalities and how they deal with things into this. And that's the only thing I can come up with. That a slight that would warrant somebody getting dressed up and approaching a property in the middle of the night to kill somebody, picking out a knife and knowing your intention, this is what you're about to go and do, right? And there's the risk that you possibly might not get away with it. Well, this guy's confident and angry and narcissistic enough to believe he's going to get away with it. He doesn't care. He knows he's going to get away with it. He believes he's going to get away with it. Because why should he not get away with it? He is smarter than the police, okay? I'm in the middle of this house, in the middle of the night. I'm here, okay? I'm already smarter than the police. I'm already smarter than the police. So this slight has... See, I can't even see any of them doing that. Not that I even know any of them, but... Like, for me, that's the type of thing that this monster, that would trigger a monster like this to do something like this. They've been unmasked. They've been exposed. They've been found out. The truth's been revealed about this person. And maybe it was a long time ago. Maybe it was a long time ago when this happened. Maybe this was festering. Maybe this person heard that Kaylee was back and then she was leaving. She was going to be leaving. And they decided this was the right time. And I'm only saying that because there's been speculation in the news, or it has been said in the news, factually by the news, not me making it up, that her injuries were significantly worse. So that's why I assume maybe Kaylee unmasked someone. Maybe it was a few months ago, okay? And this guy's just been stewing and spewing and getting angrier and angrier. And then he hears through the grapevine, she's around, she's in town, she's going to be leaving, she's going off to start this amazing life, she's just bought this amazing car. After what that bitch did to me, after what she did to me, she thinks she's going to get away with what she did to me. Was it that? Was it something like that? Was the thinking along those lines? She is not going to get away with what she did. I don't know. The more I try and walk it through and try and put myself in this person's shoes, imagine myself in the house in the middle of the night. I mean, it's just alien to anyone normal, this. Absolutely alien. We're trying to put together the pieces from the bits from what we know. Like, we don't even know who he hurt first. I just assume he went up the stairs first. And when he came down, he was disturbed. He heard something. He didn't want to risk it. Okay, so this is somebody that was thorough, right? But why did he leave two people sleeping if he was so thorough to make sure there'd be no witnesses? Did he know those other two people were there? Did he care? Okay. Did the fact that they stayed asleep save their lives? Is that what saved their lives? Because they stayed asleep? They didn't get disturbed. They weren't woken up. Would he have hurt them? I think he would have hurt them. I think if they'd have woken up, he'd have killed all of them. All 6 of them would have been dead. I honestly believe that. Honestly believe that. This guy was reckless with that knife. Absolutely reckless. And to keep doing that killing and doing it with a stabbing motion, that takes some, like, you have to fucking hate that person to keep plunging that in and to keep doing that. And we don't even know if there were signs of overkill. We don't know if he hurt their faces, their necks. We know there was stab wounds to the chest. But is it harder than you think to kill someone? Like, people think just stabbing somebody once is enough. And well, yeah, it can be life-threatening and fatal, just one stab wound. Very often in these types of bloody sick slasher type of crimes, you obviously go into shock, you start producing adrenaline, and it is possible obviously to live. And that other girl that was stabbed, that couple, I think the guy woke up, that other couple that was stabbed, I think the guy woke up and tried to fight him off, and his girlfriend or his wife actually survived. And guess how many wounds she had? She had 19 wounds. So when I'm saying 20 for each person, right? If she had 19 wounds and he hadn't finished, because she wasn't dead, so he stabbed her. This guy stabbed her 19 times. I'm not saying it's the same guy. I'm just saying this guy, as in this guy, the person who did that to that couple. He stabbed her 19 times and she wasn't dead. So your will to live as well, your will to live sometimes can play a factor in how hard it is to kill you. Because if you're fighting to keep hanging on and, you know, well, whatever, all that happens when someone's hurting you, and you try and protect yourself and you go into, you know, fight, flight, you're not necessarily feeling the pain from the wounds. You're just conscious of protecting yourself or trying to get to safety. So if that girl survived after 19 stab wounds, I'm thinking in my mind that he hurt them, you know, possibly a good 25 times each. A good 25 times each, because there's nothing to say the first 4 stab wounds were going to kill someone. They could still have had the bodily movements to get up and to try and do something. Maybe Ethan did, because there's speculation as to how the survivors found him and came running out of the house and then apparently fainted, collapsed with the shock. And then it was the other girl and a passerby that ended up asking for the ambulance. But the passerby, and with the other girl being hysterical, this is how I understood the story. The neighbour or whoever it was, asked for the ambulance because this person was unconscious right there, and that person didn't know what was going on inside the house, and then the ambulance people come, they deal with her, and then they say there's someone hurt inside, so they go in the house, and then they're just messing up a whole fucking crime scene. So anyway, there's nothing, like, if that woman survived 19 stab wounds, there's a good chance that these victims were hurt much more than that each. Much more than that. You don't know the strength of somebody's will or their fight or what's going to happen to them when you put them in that kind of a situation like that. And these two crime scenes inside that house, they have to be like bloodbaths. They have to be. They have to be. Absolutely, just this is just like the word. This is beyond the stuff of nightmares. This is like that first night it happened. I did not sleep. I did not sleep. I kept listening for any tiny sound. I just could not sleep. I was terrified. Like someone is going to get in my house and could do this to me at any time, and I'd have no clue. Terrifying. Anyway, this video is just like, share your comments below what you think. I don't even know what this video is. It's just me expressing my thoughts and opinions on the behaviours and the possible traits of this killer, the type of person they were. I do feel like they felt emboldened and entitled to be in there. I don't think it's about confidence, because these kinds of creatures are arrogant. They're not, it's like their self-assurance it's like bolstered up fucking pride. It's like bolstered up narcissism. It's not like us when we have healthy self-assurance. Cluster B personalities don't have like healthy self-assurance. Obviously they're toxic. It was calculated, it was thought through, I believe. And so this wasn't a nervous Nelly type of guy at all. This guy, God, this guy is like, I bet in social settings, he stands out. He's out of place. He will possibly, in my opinion, be saying sad things, but he'll be smiling while he's saying it. He'll be, I bet he stood right at the edge on the sidelines, just watching and enjoying the fear through the entire community, that every single person in that community, when they're going to bed at night, is just a little bit terrified that they might be next. He's probably enjoying that. He's probably enjoying it. Has he moved on? Has he stuck around? What would you do? I don't know. I don't know. I think this person is possibly around, and there's probably a good chance he's not going to be caught. There's probably a really good chance he's not going to be caught. Anyway, share your thoughts below. Let me know what you think on this killer, on the characteristics of this killer, anything you can share. I enjoy listening to profilers and that kind of thinking. And as I said, like, for profilers, they need more crime scenes to be able to build up a substantial and authentic profile. You can't just necessarily build this, like how you have this idea on Criminal Minds or Special Victims Unit. You can't just profile somebody perfectly with one crime scene. Sometimes it takes several crime scenes to continue to understand this killer, what his issue is and what the purpose is, and then within that helps you figure out how to catch the guy. So you've got any ideas or any thoughts, feel free to share them below. I know it's a bit of a strange video this, but it's the topic on everyone's minds right now. It's horrific. Rest in peace to those, to the Idaho 4. All their families and all their friends are in my thoughts constantly. I mean, I've not stopped thinking about it since it happened. It's horrific. And just to end those 4 lives like that, so they were so promising, so had so much potential. Heartbreaking, just heartbreaking stuff. And just makes you want to keep your kids close and just not let them out of your freaking sight, between America and the shootings, right? And the bloody, now you're not bloody safe in your bed. I mean, it's just terrifying. But, and then we've just had Athena Strand taken by a FedEx guy. Now, me, I am actively trying to make people more aware of how common predators are. And there was a little boy, Adam, he's famous over there, Adam Walsh, I think he was called, right? And he was in a department store with his mother, and she was looking at something, and he was playing on this gaming station that they had on the shop floor, and there was other kids playing on this gaming station too. And they got to be making a bit of noise and stuff. And little Adam's waiting for his turn with these a bit older boys. Anyway, the security guard comes walking over, and they're making a bit too much noise around this computer desk thing, and he shoos them on their way. So they exit the shop, this department store, and little Adam's just stood outside, like only little. I think he was about 4 or 5. Meanwhile, his mum's probably looking around the shop for him at this point. Wondering where he's gone, because now he's no longer at the gaming station. And just in that split second of him being outside that store, a killer, a sick killer, was driving past right at that time and picked little Adam up, and he was never seen again alive, right? Now, this is what I want people to understand. These aren't one-offs, okay? We had the case here of Holly and Jessica, right? 2 little girls. The families were having a barbecue, I think it was, this particular weekend, and the 2 girls had wanted to walk to the shop. They'd gone to walk to the shop together. They were old enough to be allowed to walk to the shop together. They weren't like 5, 6, 7 or 8 or anything like that. I think they were about 10, 11, 12 possibly. They were still at primary school. So they walk to the shop, and they see, on the way to the shop, they see this Ian Huntley guy who was a caretaker at their school, right? Now, he ends up killing both girls, gets them in the house, invites them in the house, and kills both girls. Again, a predator, okay? So Adam Walsh is put outside the shop. He's shooed outside the shop, the department store. A predator was driving past, okay? Holly and Jessica decide to walk to the shop. A predator, right? He's messing about in his front garden. He sees these 2 kids, and it was like a split-second idea, right? These are what these predators are like. It's a split-second idea, right? And the problem is, you as parents, and as much as I tell myself this all the time, but I've always lived by this anyway because of the way I grew up. It was just like predator central. So you don't have one chance to make a mistake, to lose track of your kid, or to give them permission to do something, right? It's like whenever my kid's getting off the bus and say I'm ill with flu and I can't go and meet her off the bus, I am in a constant panic until she walks through the door, even though it's literally a 2-minute walk. It doesn't matter how short the walk is. It doesn't matter that the short walk is in a safe area. None of that matters, because if a predator's passing by at that time, all it takes is the opportunity to present itself, and that's that, right? And that's just what I want to warn people about, okay? I know this FedEx guy, but again, when I've talked about predators and they operate around vulnerable people, you'll find them around vulnerable people. This predator in this instance, when he's taken Athena, again, right, it was opportunity. He sees the kid and decides he's going to take her right then and there, just in that split second, and that's it, right? For everybody else, that's it. Just from that one split second. So, I don't want to be like fear-mongering people, but the whole purpose of my channel is to warn people about predators and how they operate and how to spot them. The manipulation is how you spot them, because they're all manipulative by nature, these types of characters. And people like postmen and people like your bin men, they're people that are overlooked because they're seen around communities and they're assumed as safe, which it could be the same for the Idaho 4. This could have been a local gardener, a land keeper, someone that tidies up, maybe like around here we have like the council will come and tidy the streets of litter if there's any litter around, or they'll blow the leaves on council land, okay? So you get used to seeing those people, they're like normal, and you just automatically deem them safe because they're just over there sorting out that grass and tidying the neighborhood up, kind of thing. So people like the postmen, is my point, you can't overlook them as safe, okay? And a lot of people have said, oh, I would never have thought of the postman. Look, it's just treat people as potential predators until proven otherwise, okay? And by that, I mean just keep boundaries and be extra cautious. This is the world now, all right? And these crimes haven't just started. They haven't just started getting worse all of a sudden. They've been going on the whole time. And the government and the newspapers and whoever reports on these crimes purposely doesn't report on them nationwide or national wide or international wide, because if we really knew how often these kinds of things were going on, then we'd really start to have a problem about the amount of predators walking around that are blended into normal society. But that is what we need to do. We do need to start being more aware and more this idea that predators are everywhere should be normalized, because they are everywhere. They are everywhere, okay? And I'll tell you how I know they're everywhere. Because if 1 in 3 women has been a victim of domestic violence, a domestic violence abuser is a predator, okay? Those types of men that hurt women, they will also abuse children and they will also abuse dogs, okay? Those types of abusers, domestic violence abusers, they don't keep boundaries in any way, shape or form. And I mean, what I'm trying to get to is they don't keep sexual boundaries, okay? So abusers, right, they will abuse children sexually, be it indirectly or directly. They're a predator. They are a complete, like, your domestic violence abuser is a predator. So if 1 in 3 women has been a victim of domestic violence, 1 out of every 3, right? And then in your party of friends, how many have been sexually abused as a child? How many have been sexually assaulted as an adult? If you just add those numbers up, if we got like some real good statistics to compare and to like, so we can actually look at them and see them, these are the kinds of figures we need to be knowing. All right, not this bullshit that they keep putting out that this isn't common and it's nothing to worry about. They're not one-offs. They're not one-offs. And I want people to be, the point is, I just want people to be more aware of predators. And Athena Strand was, unfortunately, in the worst possible case, the example that don't drop your guard around people because they're familiar. Now, the UPS van is probably a familiar sight for many people. So things that are familiar make us drop our guard because we're used to seeing them. We think, safe, right? No. You keep your boundaries, all right? You don't let your kid go running off talking to the postman because he's dead sweet and delivers your mail every day. No, you keep your boundaries, all right? And don't tell your children to kiss or hug people that they don't want to kiss or hug. I can always remember our parents doing that and other kids' parents doing that. And it's a thing, like, kids know. We'd always be forced to kiss or hug the creepy uncle that kept trying to touch us up as kids, right? Go and give him a kiss. And you're like, no. And then you get into trouble. Give him a kiss. Go and give him a hug and stop being so rude and ungrateful. You know, you get that kind. Don't be those types of parents, right? If your kid doesn't want to hug someone or kiss someone, don't freaking make them, because kids know half the time. I freaking knew several times who the bloody weirdos were that my mother was bringing home to the house and stuff like that, or who were around her. So anyway, yeah, don't drop your guard. And maybe, no, never mind. Just don't drop your guard, okay? Don't drop your guard around people that are strangers but feel familiar, all right? So people in your community that you used to see. And the postman's a perfect one. He's a perfect example. That, because most people, when they see the postman, they drop the guard. They deem them safe, all right? No. Going forward in this day and age, no fucker is safe. No fucker, okay? Watch your own, protect your own, keep in constant contact with your children. I don't care how stupid it sounds or how helicopter parent-ish it sounds. It takes a split second. I want to know when my kid's leaving college, when she's got to the bus station, while she's walking to the bus station, while she's getting on the bus, while she's on the bus, And obviously then I'm usually there to meet her when she gets off the bus. All right? Don't fuck around. Do not fuck around. It takes, when you listen to these stories of how people's children got hurt or taken, right? I don't know how we've got onto this, but we have. But when you listen to stories, and I'm still full of flu, so I'm sorry if I sound chesty and all weird. But when you listen to all these stories, what do they all have in common? What does every single story have in fucking common? Every single story. It was a split-second opportunity. That's all. That's all. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Teach your children to be aware of the surroundings. It's like me, like if I have to walk to the shop at night, like, and it goes dark early now. So say like it's like 8 o'clock and I'm walking to the shop on my own in the dark. I'll do weird stuff, me. Like I'll walk down the centre of the road. All right. Because there's always like white vans parked up and I think I ain't fucking walking past the white van that's got a tight squeeze round it. I don't know, there's no weirdo waiting inside that van for someone just to walk by and snatch him. I'll walk down the middle of the road because the road's usually dead anyway. Everyone's at home and stuff. If a car comes, I'll just move over to the pavement. But I do try and keep myself safe. We're not allowed to carry weapons here, but I will try and have something in my hand, in my pocket, and some motherfucker grabs me, you're getting it in the eye, pal. Straight in the fucking eye, no messing about. Get the fuck off. You're taking me nowhere. So yeah. And teach your kids things about if they're grabbed, to let their bodies go limp. I know, like, your first reaction, scream, scream, and scream, right? But then if they're trying to lift them or get them into something, tell them to go really limp, because it makes them really hard to grab. Because when you're stiff and fighting, it makes you easier to grab and snatch. But when you let your body go limp, right, they lose the grip on you. They've got to keep trying to pick up the other leg because now you feel heavy, and then they need to scoop up your other leg, and you're falling to the floor and you're pulling them down to the floor. And it's just time then. It just gives you more time. So teach your kids tactics and techniques, or to carry something in the hand if they are walking, or to scream and shout. And like the situation with Abby and Libby. You know, thinking about that situation, did he threaten one to control the other? Like, I've had conversations with my kid, if something ever happened and you were with your friend and they grabbed your friend and said, don't move, or I'm going to shoot your friend, or I'm going to hurt your friend, fucking run for the wind. Run for the wind and get help. Don't ever fall for that trick, because they're just going to kill you anyway. They're just going to hurt you anyway, okay? So teach your kids things. Teach them to be looking around and to make a lot of fucking noise, to scream and shout, and to be paying attention of cars going past, not just staring at their phones and stuff like that. Teach them to be aware of the surroundings. We've got to get smarter to outsmart the predators, and the predators are opportunists, and they're always just looking for someone that's not quite paying attention. There's no one around, and it's just a quick in and out job. Like, grab the kid, get in the car, like this sick fucker did with Athena. They're just looking. So be smart, be cautious, pay attention. That's the point. There is no more being docile and, oh, this is a safe neighbourhood, nothing ever happens here, right? They're the places where you should be concerned that something might just happen there, all right? Because the places where you drop your guard, like, you should be dropping your guard. You should not be dropping. I just don't agree with it. You should not be dropping your guard. You should be keeping boundaries and paying attention and being aware of your surroundings all the time. All the time. Okay? All the time. We get into this thing of just being lazy and, oh, I can't be bothered, and, oh, what colour was that car that went? Oh, I don't care. Like, we have to pay better attention, all right? We have to pay better attention around our communities and be on the lookout for things that look strange, and especially with kids being hurt and stuff. Like the other day, and I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. This is what happened to me the other day, right? I was walking to the shop, and it's literally 2 minutes from where I live. And it was the middle of the day, and I was full of flu, and we needed supplies. So I had to get, like, booted up, coated up, and I'm out with my hoodie on, full of flu. I need to go to the shop and get supplies. So walking down to the shop, and on the opposite side of the road, there's this kid, right? He looked about 8 or 9 years old. He had this top on with cut off sleeves, his arms out, right? And trackies on, and he's got these two huge carrier bags, one at either side of him, struggling to carry these bags, this lad was, but he was trying to be like a young man, like manly, trying to carry these two bags down the street, and you could tell they were too much for him. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, you are 9 years old, right? Who the fuck has sent you to the shop on your own in the first place, right, this far from your house? Okay, because I knew where he was walking to, back towards the part where he lives, right? So it was like a 10-minute walk. So who the fuck has sent you on this trip with all this stuff to buy that you can hardly carry on your own as a kid? You have no coat on. It's the middle of winter. It's fucking freezing outside. Freezing. It's been iced up in the morning. Like, your car's all iced up. So there's this kid, and I'm like, where, like, he's not dressed for the weather. He was avoiding eye contact, but not in the way like just being a kid. Oh, it's hard to explain. Like, some of us had those mothers where they were like, just go to the shop, don't look at anyone, and don't speak to anyone, don't tell them anything, right? So he saw me looking at him, and I'm looking at him thinking, why aren't you in school? Where the fuck is your parent? Why have you no coat on? And what the hell are you doing with them bags? Like, you need help. Like, I want to help this kid with these bags, but I don't know what to do. So he carried on walking. He didn't want to be bothered. He put his head down and walked off. And I'm like, I don't want to look like a fucking weirdo trying to talk to a kid. But for me, that would have been a situation where somebody needs to be contacted, right? It's the middle of the day. This kid's not in school. He's no coat on. He's got this tiny, like, thin, I don't know what you, like a vest top on, cut off sleeves, no jacket, freezing. And he's carrying these two. Where's the mother? Why ain't she carrying these bags, right? Why is he off school in the middle of the day doing this? What the hell is going on? Those types of things. Who is there to say something to? When you see, or like if I've ever been in town and I've seen a parent hitting a kid, right? I'm like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Who do you report it to? Because they just walk off. I don't know her name. I don't know her address. I don't know nothing. So as much as people say, if you see something, say something, who the fuck am I saying it to? That's what I'd like to know. Where am I supposed to go to get this woman looked at who's beating her kids in the middle of town? How? Where? There's no one to go to. Can't ring up social services. Oh, hi. Today while I was in town, I saw this woman and she was being rough with her kids and hitting them, being abusive and swearing at them. But I don't know her name and I don't know where she lives. Like, hello? So, as much as I agree with the see something, say something, sometimes, well, who the hell are you seeing and saying something to? Because there's no one there to say something to. I don't have any information to be able to tell anyone anything. It's like that kid, I haven't stopped wondering about him. Like, why was his mother sending him out in the middle of the day, in the middle of winter, with no coat on like that? So even if he was a young carer for his mum, where's the mum's care and concern to make that kid put a jumper on or a jacket? And he's carrying two bags, right, that looked heavier than him on either side. He was struggling down the road with it. When I say struggling, he was struggling. And then he was trying to act like a tough young guy. I got this. I don't need help. I got this. I don't know. It was just weird. Okay. Stuff like that. He should have been in school. What the fuck? So sometimes you see something and there's nobody to say it to anything to. But anyway, bottom line, keep your boundaries. Stay alert. Don't let the postman dupe you into feeling like because they're familiar that they're just automatically safe. No, they're not. Even a neighbour's not safe out in the front garden, as Holly and Jessica proved walking to the shop. Okay, little Adam Walsh, the seconds he get kicked out of the shop, and I think, say like it was in the space of what? Minutes, 10, 15 minutes from her getting to trying to find out what had happened to him, where he'd calling people to help her. That little boy had been spirited away by a predator. It took no time at all. So the time he got shooed out, you imagine the timing, how perfect that timing was for that predator. This little kid gets shooed out of a department store and he's the predator driving past, sees the kid on his own, maybe circles back, picks the kid up, and that's that. Okay? That's that. That's how quick it is. So these opportunities, they don't have to be. It's just one thing that perfectly sets them in motion, and that's that. Okay? That's that. So keep an eye on your kid. Keep hold of him. Don't let go of him. Do not let go of him. okay? And teach them about the surroundings. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to shut up yabbering on and on. If this even made any sense to upload. If it did and you listened, share your thoughts below. I hope everybody's well. I can't wait to feel better. I feel like hell. Absolute hell. I hope to see you all soon. Have a lovely week. Love lots and bye for now.